On a crisp morning in late August 1939, a Heinkel He-111P bomber soared high above the Polish countryside. Below, a patchwork of fields gave way to towns and villages, still untouched by the looming shadow. From the bombardier's perch, the houses seemed peaceful, the streets quiet, utterly unaware of the storm about to break. This was the deceptive calm before Europe plunged into its deadliest conflict. A moment of fragile peace just hours before Germany unleashed a new form of warfare, designed to overwhelm and shatter a nation in mere weeks.
As the German Air Force prepared to strike from above, on the ground, Polish cavalry units, with their anachronistic but proud charge, represented a nation bracing for an onslaught with a mix of outdated tactics and fierce determination. Despite having a potential military force of 2.5 million men, Poland could only muster around 600,000 troops, organized into 7 armies and 5 operational groups. This numerical disparity was exacerbated by a tragic lack of modern equipment, compounded by Allied pressure and internal mismanagement, leaving them critically vulnerable against the highly mechanized German war machine. The very notion of Polish cavalry charging German tanks, while largely a myth, speaks to the incredible, almost suicidal bravery expected of these soldiers.
News of the invasion traveled swiftly, even across the Atlantic. American journalist John Gunther, observing the early days of the conflict from a distance, remarked in December of 1939 that the German campaign was a masterpiece. This cold, analytical assessment underscored the speed and brutal efficiency of the Blitzkrieg, a term not yet fully formed, but already terrifyingly evident. The world watched, often with a mix of awe and dread, as the German armed forces demonstrated their power, a skill that tragically led to Poland's rapid downfall, seemingly proving the grim effectiveness of a new kind of war. Yet Poland's fate was sealed not just by military might, but by a chilling political calculation. Weeks before the invasion, on August 23, 1939, a secret pact was signed in Moscow. The image captures key figures, including Soviet Foreign Minister Vyacheslav Molotov signing with Joseph Stalin looking on. This was the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, a non-aggression treaty between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union that included a secret protocol for the division of Central and Eastern Europe into German and Soviet spheres of influence. Poland was explicitly carved up, effectively condemning it to a two-front invasion, a betrayal that left the nation isolated and facing an insurmountable challenge from both East and West. The first shots of World War II were fired at Westerplatte, a Polish military transit depot on the Baltic Sea. At 4:45 a.m. on September 1, 1939, the German battleship Swelling Holstein, a pre-dreadnought vessel, opened fire on the small Polish garrison. The initial bombardment was meant to quickly overrun the outpost. What followed was a battle of astonishing courage. A small Polish force, fewer than 200 soldiers, incredibly held off the massive German assault for 7 days, becoming a symbol of unwavering Polish resistance against overwhelming odds, defying all expectations for a swift victory. After the week-long siege, German soldiers finally moved through the shattered remnants of Westerplatte on September 7, 1939. The scene was one of total devastation. The once fortified positions were reduced to rubble, a testament to the ferocity of the bombardment and the stubborn defense. The tenacity of the Polish defenders at Westerplatte, though ultimately overcome, provided a crucial morale boost to the rest of the country, showing that even against the German juggernaut, a fierce, determined stand was possible, buying precious time even as their strategic position crumbled.
The battle for Westerplatte was but a microcosm of the devastation unleashed across the entire Polish landscape. From the air, the German Luftwaffe delivered relentless bombing runs, with explosions erupting in fiery plumes across fields and towns. This was the true brutal dawn of the invasion, Not just a military operation, but a terror campaign from the skies, aiming to crush morale and infrastructure simultaneously. Cities, railway lines, airfields, and even fleeing civilians became targets, showcasing the ruthless efficiency of the new air warfare doctrines. As aerial bombing softened targets and disrupted communications, German armored divisions spearheaded the ground assault. Here, tanks from the SS Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler Division forged their way across the Bzura River in September 1939. This pivotal crossing was part of the Battle of Bzura, the largest counteroffensive launched by the Polish army during the invasion. Though initially successful in surprising some German forces, the Polish efforts were ultimately crushed by superior German mobility, air power, and overwhelming numbers, leading to the rapid encirclement and destruction of large Polish units, and securing most of western Poland for the invaders.
The relentless advance meant little respite for the German forces. Soldiers from the SS Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler Division, an elite unit that participated in some of the most intense fighting, paused for a brief rest in a roadside ditch near Pabianice. Even for the seemingly unstoppable German war machine, the invasion of Poland was an arduous campaign, marked by continuous movement, skirmishes, and the psychological toll of combat. These brief moments of rest were vital, yet they offered little comfort against the backdrop of a nation being systematically dismantled.
The rapid advance of German mechanized units brought the brutal reality of the invasion directly into Polish towns. Here, German advance guards and scouts navigate a street in a Polish town, ravaged by shelling and fire. Buildings smolder, and the air is thick with smoke and dust. This was the fate of countless Polish communities caught in the path of the relentless Nazi invasion, their homes and livelihoods destroyed in a matter of days or weeks, transforming peaceful streets into scenes of utter desolation. By September 16, 1939, German infantry cautiously advanced on the outskirts of Warsaw, the proud capital of Poland. The city braced for an inevitable siege, its citizens preparing for what they knew would be a desperate and bloody fight. Despite being surrounded and facing overwhelming odds, Warsaw would continue to resist for nearly 2 more weeks, demonstrating a fierce refusal to yield, even as the walls closed in and the world watched with bated breath.
As the fighting intensified, the human cost mounted. This heartbreaking image shows defenseless Polish civilians, their arms raised in surrender, being led as prisoners of war. The invasion was not just a conflict between armies, it was a brutal assault on the Polish people. Thousands of civilians were rounded up, many executed, others sent to forced labor, marking the grim beginning of an occupation that would prove to be one of the most brutal in human history, characterized by widespread atrocities and systematic oppression.
2 days after the invasion began, on September 3, 1939, Britain's King George VI addressed his nation from London, somberly declaring war on Germany. France followed suit, formally marking the conflict's expansion beyond Poland. While this declaration brought the world into World War II, it offered little immediate military relief to the Poles, who found themselves fighting alone against an enemy that respected no conventions of warfare. The king's words signaled the start of a global war, but for Poland, it was already a desperate, lonely struggle. Across the globe, in Washington, D.C., a crowd gathers outside the United States State Department on September 1, 1939, engrossed in newspaper headlines, screaming, "Bombs rain on Warsaw." Diplomats huddled inside, discussing the escalating European conflict. While the United States remained officially neutral at this point, the horrifying scale of the attack on Poland captured international attention, signaling to the world that this was not merely another border dispute, but a new, terrifying chapter in global history, one that would soon envelop nearly every continent.
The relentless German assault left Warsaw in ruins. By March 6, 1940, months after the city's surrender, Ordynaka Street lay completely devastated. Debris, shattered masonry, and even the body of a dead horse attested to the sheer brutality of the bombardment. During the 1939 invasion, Warsaw endured constant shelling and air raids, culminating in a single day, September 25th, when 1,150 sorties dropped 550 tons of bombs. This aerial campaign was designed not just to destroy military targets, but to break the will of the civilian population, transforming the capital into a landscape of rubble and despair.
Even as Warsaw burned, Polish forces, however outmatched, continued to fight. Armored trains, like this damaged Polish example laden with captured tanks near Blony, represented a determined but ultimately futile effort to resist. This particular train was seized by the 14th SS Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler Division, a testament to the overwhelming speed and power of the German advance. Despite pockets of heroic resistance, the sheer technological and numerical superiority of the invaders meant that even these powerful symbols of Polish defiance were quickly neutralized. Amidst the overwhelming German advance, there were rare moments of Polish triumph. Here, a group of German soldiers, captured by the Polish army during the Nazi invasion, stand as prisoners in Warsaw on October 2, 1939. These captures, though few in number relative to the scale of the conflict, stand as a testament to the fierce and often underestimated resistance offered by Polish forces. They remind us that even in the face of certain defeat, there were brave individuals who inflicted casualties and setbacks on the seemingly invincible German war machine.
But the true, enduring tragedy of the Polish campaign lay with its civilians. A young Polish boy sits amidst the ruins of his home in Warsaw during a brief lull in the relentless German air raids in September 1939. His small figure is dwarfed by the mountainous piles of rubble and debris, a poignant symbol of innocence shattered by the brutality of war. Warsaw bravely held out until its surrender on September 28th, but the image of this child, alone amidst the destruction, captures the profound and lasting scars left upon a nation that paid an unfathomable price for merely existing in the path of aggression. Just over a month after the invasion began, on October 5, 1939, Adolf Hitler stood on a reviewing stand in Warsaw, saluting his parading Wehrmacht troops. Behind him stood senior generals like Walther von Brauchitsch and Wilhelm Keitel, witnessing the culmination of their swift and brutal conquest. This triumphant parade through a conquered capital amidst the ruins of a nation served as a chilling declaration of German victory, but it was also a grim harbinger of the horrors yet to come. The fall of Poland marked not just the brutal dawn of World War II, but the beginning of an unprecedented era of occupation, systematic terror, and unimaginable suffering. A dark chapter in history that forever redefined the meaning of war and human resilience.